even have you kiss the cow.
Okay.
Just because we thought people were going to wonder why there was a cow in the shot. And then so, not that I'm gonna wanna cut these out mostly, but can you hear me with the earphone?
No, earphone ready? Well, speaking.
What? About what?
My testing. 1, 2, American, 3, 4, 5, 6. So
Not
it's
at
just
all,
him.
or
So you can hear him though.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Okay. I wonder if that's gonna matter. You know, I'll just say them loud, and then they'll probably get. I didn't want my voice in it anyway, but I was wondering if I'll hopefully. So when I ask you a question, a lot of times, yes or no's are gonna get lost because I'm not even heard. That's how low budget we are. So, and also sometimes you'll have to forgive me because my Cuban education has just been starting. So, it's going to be loose, but in general, I wanted to start kind of like 3 areas of sort of like, first, like talk more about your art, and then talk a little bit about Cuba, and then just a little bit about coming to the States and stuff. So I guess the first thing is the general artist questions for like, I mean, was it at a young age? Yeah, how did you get started, like your interest in art?
Well, I used to draw like everybody when he's a child does, and I was in art school since I was maybe 9 years old, something like that, and kept in the track.
The truck?
The track, yeah. Studying art until I studied at the San Alejandro Academy in Havana, and later I finished college as an art teacher. And I've been professionally professionally painting since 1985, since I graduated from San Alejandro School.
Okay. And so were you born in Havana?
Yeah, I was born in Havana. 1966. 67, sorry. 67.
And so were going back to say even your parents, they were from Havana?
Yeah, both my parents are from Havana. So.
And when they had something to do with your going to an art school and stuff.
Yeah, of
like
course,
that.
they support me a lot.
So they've been very supportive. That's
yeah. All my family, my parents both, and one of my aunts used to take me to the
museums.
Galleries, museums, and most of all this kind of space where children were gathered to teach them art, but not actually wasn't a school. It wasn't a school, but it's in the library. They took me to those places during while he was working in old Havana, studying there.
And moving, they felt the same way, moving beyond hobby. You know what I mean by hobby? Hobby means?
Hobby, yeah.
I mean, like amateur, like to professionally, like they're happy about that too, or they?
Yeah, I think they're happy. Yeah. Yeah, they're happy.
And then I heard, the one thing I heard was your dad in the military?
No.
No, not at all. Okay, that was something I thought I heard. I wasn't sure. So what? So I guess I know nothing about your folks because I heard Pilar. Were any of the other artists have? Maybe that was just a.
Well, I don't know. Tom told me today that one of the artists that would be in this show used to be a pilot, something like that.
Huh.
I didn't know that. But
maybe it was some. It was like a couple weeks ago I heard Pilar mention something, so I wasn't sure if it was you or not. And that's no big deal. But so what? Tell me about your parents just a little bit, just to get.
Well, they're nice persons.
But I mean, what did they do as you grew up? I mean, are they still working?
No, they are retired. Yeah, they're retired.
And when you were what did they do?
Well, they used to work as office clerks,
Mm-hmm. Okay.
mostly.
Pretty simple. You mean it was sort of that it was like just their job?
Yeah, they, my father was some kind of accountant,
Accountant. Okay.
accountant,
Uh-huh.
something like that. Yeah, and my mother worked at the same office
Mm-hmm.
with him.
And the art school that you went to, that was an all-day school. I mean, it was like
Yeah, well,
they had different
some kind of
programs
elementary school.
uh-huh.
It was they had they had two sessions. One you in the morning, or for example, you participate in the art rooms or
Mm-hmm.
whatever, no? Disciplines, drawing, painting, whatever. And the other session, you went to another different side to get the regular education, no?
Okay.
Math, language. Whatever. Later, it was all the same.
I'm
Okay,
sorry.
it's okay.
Sorry, I forgot to turn this ringer off.
Now, a while there at the beginning, it was getting some sort of buzz or distortion. I thought it might have been fabric, but now I'm not so sure.
You still getting it?
I'm not getting it. I haven't got it. I got it in the first 2 minutes. I don't know.
Okay, it could. I'm not
I
sure.
can repeat what I said. I was born in Havana.
Yeah, I'm not gonna work. We're gonna get a lot of stuff on tape for him, so I'm sure it'll be fine.
Okay.
And we're gonna, if we miss anything, we can go down
I'll
to
keep you
Cuba and
posted.
get it there. So, um, so I'm sorry. So it was kind of like still like regular school, except you had a bigger chunk that was for art studies. In the
Bigger chunk.
like a bigger block of time.
Mm-hmm.
Sort of instead of having just a little bit of art a day.
No. The school I went to,
Uh-huh.
they were devoted to art teaching.
Uh-huh.
You know? You spend a lot of time, painting, drawing, making sculptures,
Mm-hmm.
modeling, or usually making jokes with your friends, or whatever. A lot of time.
Mm-hmm. And then however you'd want to describe this, whether vaguely or not, how would you, as far as like government ideologies or like socialist ideas, how was that?
At that time,
I mean, how was it? Yeah.
in the 80s, for example, in San Alejandro, it was a regular school another regular school in Havana, you know. You were undergoing the regular things in every school in Cuba. You had to sing the national hymn. You got a Marxist Leninist education, philosophy,
Mm-hmm.
and but those were great times, also for great times.
So with all of the problems and all of the sort of all of the sort of crises that Cuba is having, do a lot of students and maybe adults, did they still have a connection to the ideology, even if in practice it wasn't working? The things that were taught that did they make sense to a lot of people? I mean,
Still now.
still now.
Well, I think so. Some people, believe in some things.
Mm-hmm.
Some other people doesn't believe in anything, or believe in other kind of things. I can't tell you on other people, I'm just used to a very, how would be the word? Skepticism.
Skeptical.
Skeptical, yeah. I'm usually a kind of skeptical person. I used to believe,
Mm-hmm.
but someday I realized that,
So I guess now you were talking about the paintings that you painted, the first ones you showed us, I mean, there's stylistically, they're very different from the earlier painting. So I wanted to find out how you sort of conceive a painting and put it together. Now, I don't know if you'd want to talk about the newer works or older works, if you have more of a general concept of, how thought processes of like, does the things come to you over time and that type of thing. Like if you have an idea that maybe this would be a painting, like how do you work that out over a longer period of time? You know what I mean?
Well, actually, this paint is we were talking about. I'm doing that kind of painting at the same time. I'm doing the regular oil on canvas. Because I think that they are different, but they are related, and they share the same concept of a painting that I have. And I'm doing at the same time. Maybe I'm working this other kind of painting, like little one, like oil on canvas, and at the same time I have to paint 2 or 3 of the collage works. Doesn't matter. Depends on if I have my ideas clearly stated, and I have to hasten myself, to have a deadline or something like that. I have to work 3 or 4 paintings at the same time. Doesn't matter if they are different in concept or different in structure or procedure or whatever. I usually separate very much the process of conceiving the painting from the stage of producing.
So it is
actually
very planned out. So
yeah, it's very planned out. Yeah.
So you don't get it doesn't, not like it stays exactly the same, but it's pretty much you go in with almost a full.
Yeah, no, I usually start to work when I'm sure what I'm going to paint on the canvas. I do not face the blank canvas, wait for some kind of musa, inspiration or something like that. I have to work early.
But that blank canvas still means something to you. Whether
Yeah, we were talking about that the other day, Martinez. Well, yeah, the blank canvas is it's a charged, already charged space. It has its meanings. I'm not discovering anything. A lot of people have been writing a lot about that, and it's a mediated way of expression, to paint on a canvas. That usually gives me the possibility to that people can relate with my paintings in an easy way. They take a look at an oil on canvas, and they say, well, that's a work of art. And so I can reach, I think, a very wide spectrum of people through that kind of media. At the same time, well, I think it's like a regular sheet of paper. Nobody, because I've been thinking. I was concerned about maybe 5-6 years ago about what I'm doing. I'm painting. All my friends are doing, contemporary art. They're showing some kind of experimental work, and I keep painting. Why? I was concerned.
So they're making sculptures and constructions.
Yeah, maybe installation, maybe performances. And one day I realized that, well, I want to keep it simple. That's what I'm painting. I do that on my own. I do not depend on different people. It's easy for me.
So there's something to be said for limitations. You like that there's some kind of somewhat focus.
Yeah,
instead of
I feel very focused when I paint, you know, because I keep a lot of troubles out of my head when I paint, you know. So there's one blank canvas. I have already some kind of sketch or founded image to put on that canvas. It's easy.
Now, and a lot of artists say they paint for themselves, and so you might feel the same exact. But in general, you may feel the same exact way. But are there times when there isn't somebody that you're imagining? Like, what would this person think when he sees it? Is there like a certain? Are there images of imagining who's going to be viewing it? Whether it's your parents or other Cubans or Spanish or Americans, or is it just the interest?
Yeah. Well, that's a very difficult question, you know. But, maybe years ago, I used to think, well, I'm painting for Cubans, you know, and for myself at the same time, because I want to do this. I was painting for my friends also, that wanted to see me painting, wanted to see my painting. And I have been trying to not think too much about that.
Sorry, hold on a second. Are you having trouble, Brian?
Yeah, we're getting a lot of
I'm sorry.
interference.
Maybe I'm moving.
I'm
No?
watching you, and I don't think.
Can you just try going like that a little bit and seeing if?
That sounds different to me. It's a different kind of thing. It's like electronic static interference. Every once in a while.
Okay, can we pause
Okay.
for just a sec then?
No problem.
Let me just see if there's anything. Yeah.
And we're rolling. Yeah.
Whom I'm addressing when I'm addressing I'm addressing to myself. I'm addressing to my wife. I'm addressing to that kind of thing that is called public in a general sense. And at the same time, I'm addressing to a market right now that giving the money to live also. So
Is it in general though? It's something you try to push back.
yeah.
It comes forward
Well,
once in a while.
Yeah. Sometimes I got really tricky, and I have to paint a second version of a work. You know, somebody asked for that, and I said, "Wow, why not?" A lot of painters during the 15th century on have been doing that. You know, for this church, to put this painting in this church, to put this other painting in that palace, you know, some kind of same
If a
version.
sculptor can make 5 casts of something, why not?
Why not? Yeah.
Especially.
Well, I have one work that has suffered 5 versions. So I said, well, that's the last one.
Now you started to mention you're addressing the market, and I know that was something we talked about a little bit the other night. Was just so I wanted if you could talk about what you think. Mostly, I wanted to see what you thought about, like, just because I thought it was interesting what you had to say about, like, painting and the world marketplace and stuff. But also, if you could also, I was also curious about just the fact that Cuba is in a kind of unique situation as far as not so much as people looking in, but maybe just purely almost on an economic level of the differences between a market that's been open all around the world to a place that's been only somewhat open. It's like there's just little cracks in.
Yeah. Well, Cuba is on fashion now. You know, Cuba is on the stage. You know, people living in Cuba are taking advantage of that. You know, in some ways. I don't know what will my paintings will be worthy in the next 10 years. No, I don't care too much about that so far. And I'm a little bored about the Cuban thing and the Cuban art, my art in Cuba, my subjects related with Cuba and Cuban art history and Cuban politics or whatever. I'm really fed up.
So you feel almost, I mean, it seems like, so even if it's attention on your work, you have a little bit of resentment because you feel it might be a little phony?
No, I don't think I'm funny at all.
No, not you.
No.
I think like the people who are looking in are a bit.
Yeah,
a bit phony.
No, I don't know. What I'm trying to say is that I'm just fed up, of the Cuban thing already. Fed up. And
so it's more
maybe I will paint abstract paintings the next year. I don't know.
So you think it more personally as an artist, whether not even to say you're an international artist, but just an artist, not so much a Cuban
Yeah,
artist?
well, I'm a Cuban artist.
Yeah.
I'm Cuban also.
Yeah.
So I have to carry that concept on me,
Uh-huh. But you don't want it to weigh too heavily. Is that what you mean?
Too?
When you say you're fed up, I mean, also is that part of the fact that weigh heavily on you? Meaning, is it just like who you're painting for? Do you want to keep the fact that you don't want to dwell on the fact that you're a
Yeah,
Cuban
of course.
because
That's the point.
attention
Yeah.
is coming in.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know what I want to do, but I want to put some things out. My spot. I don't know.
Okay.
The thing again. So maybe when you lean forward, when you lean
Well, okay, I keep up.
Maybe it's the chair.
May not be that the chair.
It's electrical chair. What we were talking about?
We had just finished talking a little bit about just sort of the focus that's been going on on the Cuban side of the market.
Mm-hmm.
I guess what I wanted to talk about there was the fact that what you mentioned the other night was the idea of oil on canvas, the medium you use, as something that has so much historical weight, and whether once again that's something you push into the background as you're painting.
Mm-hmm.
When you're not painting, it can be something that you can easily start to look back for almost seems like forever on. So you just seem to have an interesting. That was another way of focusing. So can you sort of?
Oh, I don't know if I remind. Well.
You don't have. We don't have to go
No.
into it again. But if
Yeah, I think that maybe it's simpler than the way I put it the other way, the other day. I just, I think that all works of art are carrying, traditional connotations, every kind of work of art. If you take a look at the international art scene, you can trace every work, backwards. So I choose the easiest way out for art, to paint oil on canvas.
Gotcha. Well, maybe it was. Maybe it sounded so clear after a martini or two.
Yeah, clear. Yeah.
Now, also when you're talking about the painting.
Well, maybe we were talking about the kind of relationship between what's the meaning of painting for me.
Yeah,
what's the use of that?
That's what I was going to talk about. Yeah.
What's the use of that? Of painting? Because schizophrenia, that you have to keep believing in some kind of function that you are devoted to. Painting, when you're painting, it is related also with the question about the public, you know. I read an article that is written by a friend of mine who's living in Spain, and he talked about that collage was the main source of the most important kind of discovery the 20th century art, because collaging you were intended to try to change people's perception on reality. That's the only thing you could influence on, you know. But on the other hand, you have no power painting to change people's perception of reality. And on the other hand, three hands. You have to keep on playing with the destiny of the work. What's the destiny of your work? Is to be hanging on some places. You're going to make money out of that work. You're going to, you know, maybe you are having a lot of money with a single work. And what's the use of that painting then? So those are I think that the regular kind of questions that contemporary artists with a couple of, you know, inches in the brain used to ask to themselves. I have to live with that.
Now, I mean, you put it also. This is also something you put in really simple terms the other night, which you were. I mean, sort of, it's something that is implicit in painting, but normally artists don't really talk about it. It's the fact that you're like, I can't be explicit. I have to be ambiguous.
Yeah.
But also, I thought it was just interesting that, I mean, not that once in I'm not sure if this is one of the parts that you're fed up about. Oh, sorry, was I talking too fast?
Too fast, yeah.
You speak so well, I sometimes forget that I'm speaking.
No, sorry, I do not speak so well.
But I thought it was interesting that, I mean, because of your situation, if you want a painting to be able to leave the country, there's other certain things besides being ambiguous in an art context sense. There is the ambiguity of Cuban being a Cuban artist.
Well, I think that mostly most of what is let me focus a little.
That's good.
I think that art has to do with that kind of thing, ambiguity. You know, to be successful, somewhere you have to measure the amount of information, you know, new information that you are putting into your science, and the amount of redundant information, you know, to keep the things communicating. So, if you take a look at a lot of work of art that are considered good work of art, they're carrying that kind of balance, you know. I don't know, I'm not focusing too well.
That's okay.
But I think that every subject I treat, I try to do it in those terms, you know, because it's easy. I'm not radical at all. I'm not a radical person. I'm not a radical artist. That's important. I'm not because I'm a painter, you know. My painting hangs on the walls. So in Cuba, yeah, maybe I'm saying some things, you know, but those are things that can be said, you know, they're allowed.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe some images cannot be reproduced in a newspaper, but who cares, you know? They are in the gallery, maybe 300 people will take a look at it, and that's all. Maybe when my work in it it's shown in some other places, I think that they function in the same way. It's weird. They function in the same way. 300, 3,000 people take a look at it and vanished. I think, you know.
So that's a dynamic that you think about is not being so obscure
Mm-hmm.
that there is nothing to start at, and not being so flat that
Yeah, yeah.
everything is just there to pick off
Yeah,
fresh
yeah, yeah.
fruit. So okay. And then so actually,
I needed a martini.
and then also just let us know if you feel like taking a breather, or if you take a break, or
No, it's
Okay.
okay. I'm
we're
trying.
probably
I'm
about.
a li-
we're,
what I feel is a little cold here.
okay.
Cool.
I don't have.
Yeah, because it's a central system.
Yeah, well, there is no.
No,
this is-
there's no
there's a
conditioning, air conditioning here. No, it's okay.
No. Actually, we have something. I forgot. High tech.
Oh. Don't remember.
I don't. Tell me about your parents. Tell me about your parents.
That's a good one. Tell me about your
Is he
parents.
a military accountant?
Oh my fuck. Maybe when you hear everything, you will edit it and you will find the same things I told you the other day.
Oh yeah. Well, I try to be very economical.
Economical, yeah.
I don't like having extra stuff. Even though it's, you know. Yes? So I just wanted to listen to that. I didn't think it's anything.
Okay.
I just was
I
curious
don't
about
think it's much, if any. Oh, now. Please.
I was just not so you leave tomorrow for Miami?
Yeah.
And then how long will you be there?
Until next June 16th.
It's June 16th.
Wednesday, I think.
Okay. So and how many? So you're still gonna try to do a bunch of work there when you get there?
Sorry?
Painting? Are you gonna be still doing that?
Well, I will finish a painting that I brought to leave it to my family there.
Okay. I thought you were working on. Oh, so it was something for them, for your family that's in Miami.
I know, I had a show there.
Okay.
Had a show.
And so you were working on it when you were there last week, and now you're gonna finish it up when you go back. Were you working on it at all? Like when you were in Miami?
Where?
You were in Miami last week.
Yeah.
Okay, and you started it there, or you started it?
No, I started in Havana. I brought it already drawn.
Okay.
I had to paint.
Let me see. Where am I at here? So and this might be just a simple thing. Who's coming when you have an art opening? Who's coming to those openings? Is there a mix of people? Is it almost all students?
In Cuba,
Yes, in Cuba. In Cuba, I was curious.
mostly to my openings. My openings comes a lot of friends and people who work maybe in different institutions. Sometimes they show up.
So I just wonder if there's a mix of people who are, more just like I mean here we often think about, you know, is it going to be just art people coming, or is this going to be a show that's going to draw more like, you know, middle class people from the valley?
No,
Is
there a lot of people goes. Maybe no, but you know, mostly people that are related with that,
Mhm.
like everywhere, I think.
Yeah, like I just kept checking. And just like the way you said that, you know, painting keeps you focused. I was, and this is another, I think, maybe even more of a Cuban focused question. Um, there was something, I think it was actually in that other documentary from the Arizona University. Somebody was saying that because of the situation there, because of like economic realities and stuff. I mean, one of your big, it's like as a possession, like instead of having, you know, basically like lots of stuff, it's more of like you possess what's in your mind. I mean, that's like, it becomes more of a focus. I mean, maybe that's not even conscious. It's just because it's
Yeah.
a part of you. But I mean, does that seem like a statement that has some kind of?
Well, I usually feel more focused when I paint than when I'm not painting.
Enough said, I guess, on that. Cool. Yeah. And Pilar had said, Pilar was telling me about like that you really liked like your books. Like, did you? I mean, do you have a? I mean, Pilar said like books are very hard to get a hold of in Havana, like
Yeah,
contemporary
yeah,
books and
of
stuff.
course.
So
Yeah.
they're very valuable.
Valuable.
And they become, so you. I mean, you get to. I mean, because they become like your little Bibles.
Yeah, no, I have a book that I consider my manual, a student manual, the high and low catalog.
Okay.
That's a manual.
I saw that show a long time ago in Chicago.
Yeah, it's a very good book
Uh-huh.
and very nice design
Mm-hmm.
and very interesting essays and a lot of work reproduced there that I like a lot.
There's a very wide-ranging show.
And but actually I won't use that for collaging, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But I had to use a beautiful catalog of Velázquez to paste it upon
Uh-huh.
the canvas. And there's a story. The first time okay, I have to do this.
Okay.
That's okay. I asked some friends, should I do that? Should I do this? Some of them, what? Are you crazy? Some of them, okay, do it. And the day came. I had to do that. I had to start painting. So I opened the book with a cutter in my hand.
Mm-hmm.
It was pretty weird, you know. And I had to find the weak spot, to cut on it. And I felt very bad. I called a friend, said, "Why I did this? What do you think?" "Oh, I don't know." "Well, okay, thank you very much." Well, I kept doing, and when I got all those images in the floor, scattered in the floor, I said, "Wow, this is beautiful." And then I glued it up on the canvas, and I started to paint on it, and I enjoyed it a lot.
Cool. So sort of it's like when your dog, you have to put it to sleep, but it was for the best. Um, eh, there is one story from the other night that I don't have on tape. I was wondering if you could tell me about when you met Julian Schnabel down in Cuba.
No, I don't like
You
to.
don't want to
I
tell
don't
that
want
story.
to
You
talk
think
about
you
that.
think you don't, you wouldn't.
He's a nice guy.
It's too
He's,
easy to be. Whether he was whether he sounded like a bit stupid or whatever, he was just you don't need to say that out loud. Like basically, he was still nice enough. On the whole, you mean you wouldn't want to say? I'm not like.
no, 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 no. It's okay.
No big deal. That's cool. It was very funny.
You keep it for you.
Yeah, tell it to me later.
For Brian. Okay, you keep it for you.
And so I guess on an easier level, then, if you could then also just tell me about when Rai tracked you down. If you could just tell this little, like, put that into like a sort of a brief story about when Rai Cooter
Ah, well,
tracked you down.
I don't know if is that legal to talk about Raikkonen in Havana. I don't know. I don't know. Well, I met him there, and he was interested in my painting. He liked a lot my painting, and we met there.
So, but I mean, did he have to? Where did he find you? I mean, suppose does he? Cause he
Well, no, he found out about me at Arizona State University Art Museum because there was a big show of Cuban art there, and I was participating in that show. And I think that he liked a painting, one of my paintings there. They show up at my exhibition in Havana, and he's a nice guy.
And I think that was almost the end of my art page. But the last thing, I was curious with the works, like with the works that are up there. That you have here on and the one that was sort of looked more like kind of like an old hotel room, and then your other collage works. I mean, does tourism, is that an issue in your work?
Well, my work have to do if you put all the sources together in my work, they are actually those images upon which I work. They are representation of Cubans made by European eye or an American eye also.
Gotcha.
And they come together in my work and they look like Cubans. That's funny. I like that a lot,
Okay. And then so I just wanted to hear from you on a few things about Cuba, and what seems interesting to me. I mean, is it a big thing about getting a visa? I mean, what can you tell me? Is that like a process that is complicated and
Yeah.
it's tough, and
Yeah.
people who don't get them?
Yeah, some people. Yeah, the visa depends upon the embassy of the country you are going to.
But Cuba.
Yeah, Cuba. Yeah,
Cuban government-
Cuban government grants you a permission to get out of Cuba, some kind of visa to get out of Cuba, and that's another process. You have to present the papers. You have to wait. They grant you the permission or not, and then you go to the embassy and you ask for the visa.
And do artists get permission a lot? I mean,
Yeah, artists. A lot of artists are getting
they're-
permission to. I usually I haven't had any trouble
No.
so far.
Okay. And let's see.
What's that? That noise.
There's that vent goes all the way to the roof. There's a tube that goes straight up, and then there's a holder. So there's if a bird's hanging around it.
Ah, it's very good.
Brian, that can't be on. That's gonna get into the video. Can you go up there and get rid of that? Get rid
Shoot them, shoot them.
I guess for me, I just wanted to clarify for myself a bit of the ideas that Cubans have about colonialism and stuff, and the fact that, I mean, it seems that most, I mean, is it right that most people's Cuban ancestors is Spanish,
Mm-hmm.
from Spain,
I'm from Africa. Also.
and from Africa?
Mm-hmm.
But it's still like even a government that is mostly not African, like people in the government. I mean, is it? I mean, is there a connection? If you look back to Cuba's, I mean, do Cubans look, even if they look sometimes still at Spain's past in a bad light? And is there? Because I was also thinking about the indigenous Indians. Do people have a connection to? Do they feel like they have a connection to the population that was there before?
I think that in Cuba, most of people feels that they are Cubans, and at the same time, I think that that they're carrying that loose identity pretty well.
And they like that. You mean?
Yeah, they don't worry too much about that. I think that they don't worry too much about that. They doesn't.
They don't.
They don't? It's okay? Okay.
It doesn't. It doesn't, and you don't.
Okay.
I guess I don't. I can't think out grammar when I'm.
Okay,
But
sometimes
anyway.
grammar comes into my I get worried. Well, and on the other hand, I think that, Cuban society is a very mixed up, society, and I don't know. Actually, I used to talk a bit more about those issues, but there is a point now that this year I don't want to talk about that further, because I'm tired a little.
That's fine. I mean, I don't need to. I'm just curious myself.
Yeah, no, because I talked about racial issues on the Arizona show, videotape, racial issues.
Oh, racial.
Racial, I'm sorry.
I thought
Racial
you said
issues.
rations.
Yeah, of course. Racial issues. And I don't want to, they put it in that great manner,
That's fine. I mean, I thought about talking about that, but I thought it was more from what I'm starting to gather, and I'm not sure if I was right, that the sort of some of the racial issues are more inside the government than out.
Oh, the racial issues are inside my paintings.
Yeah. So.
And the Cuban history is Western,
Okay.
It's not African.
It's not. So then you'd say that Cubans have a national pride.
There's a lot of nationalism, nationalist feelings in Cuba. There are a lot. The state, the government, is nationalist, nationalist. They are proud of being Cuban. Yeah, being Cuban. So be a Cuban. That sells.
With that kind of nationalism, do people worry about? It's like if for a recovery to happen. I mean, as part of like a growth. I mean, is there a lot of foreign money you think coming in? Do people worry about that at all? Or is that not really a concern?
What? Concern about what?
If Coca-Cola comes in and starts.
Coca-Cola is in Cuba.
I know it is. I'm sorry, but I meant. Is there any worry about because in the it seems that there's so much. It's like, homogenize. it means like making everything the same.
Ah,
In the U.S.
yeah.
And in the U.S., it seems that you can go to almost any small town now, and it has the same
Well, but
stores. And
actually, I think that we are talking about now about globalization, something like that.
yeah,
Yeah. Well, I don't know what will happen. I'm not a fortune teller,
I know.
but I've seen some things in some places. Uh, Everything change.
Yeah, it does.
You know, every trend
Mm-hmm.
won't last forever, and as everything's changing, people are reacting to the changes. And most people, as human beings, are creative. So I'm not worried about anything. You know, I'm pretty comfortable here with these issues, collective items. You know.
Let's see, is there any? Do I need to cover any of this already? Let's see. And there we go. I'm gonna cross out some of these dumb U.S. questions I was gonna ask you, but I was gonna ask. Try to start. I was gonna. I don't feel like talking about it again since we've already kind of gotten. I was just gonna ask you, talk to you about baseball, unless you feel like talking about baseball.
Well, I like baseball. I'm a coach baseball player. You know, in front of the TV. I'm not a good player in baseball. And what I usually do is in Cuba is to stick to the National League.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
And you get all the U.S. does all the baseball like major leagues? Does that all that news come there?
I'm very proud of Luke Hernandez pitching with the New York Yankees, because he was my pitcher in Havana in Industriales team, and that's a good pitcher, and that's why I'm favoring New York Yankees because of that.
Does does it? Do the box scores and news about games from games that he pitches even?
That's mostly.
Because there's plenty of baseball to track down there without having to pay too much attention to.
Yeah, I think that people keep updated. Some people keep updated about American Baseball League, and I saw for the first time El Duque pitching in New York, in Havana. A friend of mine came here, brought the videos to Havana. So we bought some beers. So we're going to that's good. That's good.
So you yesterday with Ruben,
Yeah.
you drove around East LA.
Yeah.
And so it was a bit of a contrast. I mean, you spent a week on the west side.
I expected that contrast, and I wanted to see it,
Well,
and I enjoyed it a lot.
It has a lot of life over there.
Yeah, I enjoyed it a lot. Yeah,
Good.
the murals,
Uh-huh.
murals in the streets, and it's very different, and I like it a lot. It's good, healthy, you know, the contrast, diversity, everything. It's good.
And that's all I'm gonna ask. And
Thank you very much.
Your last thing is, do you have anything about your visit here that you thought was
I
interesting?
feel pretty comfortable here,
Uh-huh.
and I'm enjoying a lot to meet all you persons here. And thank you very much for inviting me.
Oh, you're very welcome.
Thank you.